I'm not sure if we have anyone on the call yet. Let me check this real quick. Hey, okay, just to confirm, I want to make sure we have audio. So Brett, would you mind just saying something real quick?
Hello. Can you hear me?
I guess you can hear me too.
Yeah, okay, I can hear both of you. You're good to go. Okay, guys, so let's go ahead and get started with this meeting. We are very excited to have Brett Walker with us. Very amazing, talented entrepreneur and marketer, and he just talked to him earlier. He sounds really excited to share with you guys some of the tips and trades he's learned from out the years. So to get started, though, we're going to have an opening prayer by Brownie. So, Brownie, would you mind offering that for us real quick?
Okay, thank you very much. We are praying. Our dear Heavenly Father in heaven, we are grateful for the day that you have provided for us today. We are grateful for the blessings and the opportunity that you have given unto us today. Father Lord, we are coming to have our meeting. We ask thee to provide us with thy spirit so that we can have knowledge and the understanding to make things happen as we want it to be. Tonight we ask these blessings in the name of thy Son Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Brownie. Thank you. That was a great prayer.
You're welcome.
So, guys, Brownie has some pretty exciting news in his personal life, and I just wanted to hear that with y'all, and also for him to share how he made this happen, because he's been working very hard the last couple of years. I hope this is rewarding for him. So, yeah, Brownie, could you share with us what this
Okay, thank you very much, Brother Mika. Thank you very much. Actually, during the year of 2019, I was introduced into BYU Pathway Connect by a colleague in our church. So I decided to get more information about Pathway Connect, and I saw that this program has been established by um, the leaders of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in combination with BYU Idaho to give the members the opportunity to get a better education at a low cost. So I decided to get enrolled in it, and God willing, I was able to go through. It's a 1 year course, and it will equip you in life skills, professional skills, and then university skills. So in the first semester, we started with the life skills, which is combined with mathematics and English language. And then in the second semester, it was professional skills, like making our CV and how to go for an interview and all sorts. And then for the last semester, it was like the general university skills that you have to get for you to be able to be a university student. So hopefully this year I was able to complete, and they gave me opportunity to apply for a degree program which is facilitated by Pathway Connect, and I did it, and God willing, I had admission on the 11th of this month, and indeed I was very grateful. So here am I.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome, Brownie. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you very much, Mika.
So another question I would just have off of that is how did you make all that happen? Was it easy to apply to BYU Pathways? Get to that point?
Okay, it was very easy, and how easy it is the only thing that you have to be eligible for you to enroll in Pathway is when you are a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or even if you are not a member and you are seeking to be a member of the church, you can enroll in the program, and it's very simple. It's very simple. You have to get the church account ID, then you use it to apply for it. It's very simple. It's very simple. Yes.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for letting us know about that. So, for the rest of you on this call, I wanted Brownie to share with you just because one, it was pretty exciting news for him, but secondly, my hope is for you who want to get further education from what you can't necessarily get here from Firewheel, that we can arrange a process for you. And I'm sure there's something we can try to get figured out for those of you who aren't members of the church to still get enrolled in that program. But if not, like, there are plenty of other opportunities. Some of you guys have reached out to me, so if you guys are interested in those, like, please let me know. We are even willing to offer to pay for part of your tuition. As I've told Brownie, we really want to help you guys get that education, so just moving forward. So thank you, Brownie. Is there anything else you would like to say to the group before you head off?
Actually, I don't have anything to say. Everything is okay. It's okay.
Okay, great, awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. Thanks for prayer. So I'd like to turn the time over to Brett Walker here in a little bit. But just first by saying that you guys are in for a real treat. Brett Walker has been doing some amazing things with his life throughout his year. He's built a really successful marketing consulting company, and I don't know if it's too hard now. You usually just tell me, like, you're going, like, the hardest decision you're trying to make with your business is how you can, like, make more time so you can go skiing or do other fun stuff like that. But he's worked hard, and he has some really cool things that he has ready to share with you guys. So with that, Brett, I'll turn the time over to you.
Thank you, Micah. And Brownie, congratulations. That's really great news. Education is really an important thing. Micah, can you share that slide share your screen?
Yeah.
So as he's getting that ready, let me just tell you, I have spent my entire career, about 35 years, in marketing. Worked for a variety of companies. I was able to go out on my own a couple of times, first with a marketing agency, and I did that for a few years. Then I went back to work for a company, and now I'm back out on my own doing the same kind of work. I work with companies to help them grow. I love that problem or that opportunity. And my greatest strength is in helping other people tell their story. So a lot of times companies start with something that they think is good, and then they work and work and work and find that sometimes people don't understand it as well or whatever. So I want to talk to you today about a little bit about how to tell your story in a way that is meaningful to other people, and more importantly, learn how to tell your story in a way that can work. So I've included my email address on this introductory slide. If for any reason you have questions after this, you can reach out to Micah or to me. I'd be happy to interact with you. So what I want to start with is a general orientation, and this aligns with so much of life, from the two great commandments of loving God and loving people, to the way that many of you probably live. And so, Micah, go ahead to that next slide.
Okay.
And that is that in business, when you serve, you do better than when you sell. So I adopted a mantra to serve, don't sell, in every interaction. And what that means is, if you're saying, I have this, would you like to buy it? That's different than if you're saying, what do you need? And how can I understand that? And perhaps someone will say, I need what you have. And then you'll have an opportunity to sell them that. And Micah, go on to the next one if you can. There's one more perspective on this, and I borrowed this from a talk I heard in 1971, and you can replace the name John Brown with any name here, but it says to sell John Brown what John Brown buys, you've got to see things through John Brown's eyes. So to interpret that, that means no one will ever buy anything from you if they don't need it. And if you try to tell them what it is you have over and over and over, and you're not seeing it through their eyes, you won't find as much success. One of the best things you can do is, if you do have existing customers or work with someone who does, go ask the customers what it is that they bought. Now, you might be selling them a tool or some software or a subscription or fruit, whatever it is. But I'll use an example of an apple. If you sold someone an apple, and you could ask them, what is it that you bought? And some people might say, I bought an apple. But other people will say, I bought nutrition. I bought a snack. I bought something to put a flavor in my mouth. I bought something to make me healthier. Does that make sense? So we don't always buy the thing that someone thinks they might sell us. I spend a lot of time talking to sales teams, and I say, what is it that you sell? And then I talk to customers and say, what is it that you bought? And oftentimes the answers are very different. Sales teams are selling apples and customers are buying nutrition. Sales teams are selling software, they're selling tools, they're selling features, they're selling discounts. Customers are buying happiness and joy. They're buying, they aspire to be smarter, to have more friends, to be happier, to be safer, to be healthier, all of those things. So what we buy things because we aspire to good things that come from what we buy. And when something is good enough, the money we have in our pocket ceases to be more important than that thing. We'll take that money out of our pocket and give it to someone in exchange for that thing that they have or whatever it is that they're selling. So I hope you'll remember this. To sell John Brown what John Brown buys, you've got to see things through John Brown's eyes. And the only way to see things through John Brown's eyes is to ask John Brown. Ask your customers. If you're starting a business,
Next slide. Okay, yeah, so
okay.
Sorry for those technical difficulties, everyone. Yeah, Brett, could you get us back to what this slide is about?
Yeah, I'm going to turn my screen so I can see it myself. I'm looking at this on my phone. What I want to do is break down the selling process just a little bit and have you look at what the customer journey, the consumer journey might look like. Now, you could say that this is true of someone who's a local customer. So you might have a storefront, a business that people come into, or you go to them from your local business. And sometimes those needs are quite a little bit different than if you're selling something to people across the world, wherever they might be, selling online. But the most important thing is to think about the process of bringing people through. And occasionally people will buy based on impulse. They see something, they buy it. And so in that case, the the gentleman on the far left would go all the way to the $, the purchase symbol, and skip all the rest of the process. But many of us work in spaces that are not that simple. And we call that process a consideration. That journey has multiple considerations in it before someone actually buys. And one of the greatest opportunities is to look at this funnel that is being built. And the person on the left is at the top. If you were to turn it up, to turn it the other way, there's a middle of the funnel and an end of the funnel. And the end is where people buy. What's awesome is, if you break this down a little bit, spread it out, is that you do a variety of things like advertising to bring people into the top of the funnel. That can be expensive. But you can also do things in that findability column that help people come into the funnel, and it doesn't cost you much at all. So being available in Google My Business, a great resource for local businesses, and it's free. Can get you onto maps, into directories. It gives you abilities to put content up. In many ways, you can have a Google My Business account without even having a website. Some really great tools there. And those are free, and those are tools that bring people into your world. What's really great is if you're capturing their email address or their cell phone number, you can continue to work with those people over time, and you own those people more in the middle of the funnel. And if your purchase takes a while to think through, like buying an automobile, buying a mortgage or a house, buying a new software solution for your business, whatever it is, if you have their email address, you can talk to them every once in a while until they decide that they're ready to buy. Maybe they have to wait for their boss to approve a budget. Maybe they have to wait for other things to come into play. Perhaps it's something that they would buy in the winter, but not in the summer. Keep those people in your database and talk to them periodically, and make it interesting to them so that they can understand that you want their business when they're ready. And then I won't read through all of this. The last point I'll make is, after they buy, the advocacy column on the far right with the heart in it, that is an opportunity for you to continue marketing to people. Stay in touch with your customers. Don't disappear. Let them know that you're still in business. Why? We all see star ratings and testimonials in Google reviews and other reviews. That's one example of advocacy. These people can do your marketing for you. If you create happy customers, they will do more and more work for you than your dollars can ever do for you. So stay in touch with those people and make them part of your ongoing thinking about running your business. Mike,
Brett,
go to the next slide.
Can I add something to that real quick? This is, guys, this is something I found that is so applicable to what makes successful companies thrive and unsuccessful companies die. What Brett just mentioned. Best example I can think about that does this so well with the experience is Apple. For those of you who may have like any Apple products, what they really focus on is actually like the customer experience first, and how the customer will actually use their product. And they do many things to, like either like updates or many other things to make sure that people, after they buy their product, have an amazing experience. And so because of that, they've become one of the strongest companies in the world. So I just wanted to mention that the experience is so important.
Great example. And there are small companies too. Sometimes it's the grocery store on the corner that is winning my business. And I go there not just because they're nearby. I go there because I have a relationship with the person at the counter, or they have the selection that I like. That's true of a small business, and it's true of Apple. It's true of Disney. It's true of lots of companies that focus on customer experience. A good experience creates more advocacy. I tell people about the things I like, the movie I saw that I liked, the TV show, the Netflix show that I watched that I like. I advocate on behalf of the things that I enjoy, and that makes other people want to buy those things too. So let's move to the next and final slide. Thank you, Micah. One last thing. This is a lot to look at here, but I want to just say that customer loyalty and good customers can be earned and almost never bought. And the way you generate demand, when you look, we're not going to go back to it, but that customer journey, when I look at how I'm going to spend money, many people think, I'm driving down the road and I saw a billboard, and so I should have a billboard when I start my business. That would be a good way to let people know. I heard someone not too long ago tell a story about how their boss, they were a very successful company. They had $1 million to spend on marketing, and the boss wanted to sponsor Manchester United soccer jerseys and have their logo on the soccer jersey. He said, we will get in front of millions of people that way. Well, if you look at the top of this pyramid, NTP, non-targeted promotions, is at the top. I think most of you might understand that while a Manchester United soccer jersey is a great place for your logo to show up, most of the soccer players are moving too fast to recognize what logos are on their jersey. And if you have a love for the game, I love soccer, most of those people are watching the game and not really caring much about what logos are on the soccer players' jerseys. So hopefully that helps you understand that $1 million up at the top of that pyramid might get you a place, but it's going to be, if you look down the left side, the least effective. Effectiveness goes from lowest at the top to highest at the bottom. It works better at the bottom. The cost on the right side goes from the lowest cost at the bottom to the highest cost at the top. So things like advocacy, having your customers tell good stories about your business, that doesn't cost you anything, and it's worth the very most. It's the most effective tool. Collecting an email address or a cell phone number so you can send an SMS text to someone, those are very inexpensive. So when you launch your business, and if you're doing physical business at a trade show or a market, put a clipboard out there and gather people's email addresses. Does it cost you much? Maybe the cost of a clipboard and a piece of paper and a pen, but your opportunity to communicate with those people via email is free thereafter. And they'll let you send them emails as long as you don't send them too many, right? We all have had that experience where someone sends us too many emails, and so we opt out. But when you're doing it right, people stay involved. As we move up this hierarchy, you can see things you probably recognize: online advertising, speeches, or trade shows. They get more expensive to do, and a billboard it's cool because you see it, but you're not maybe getting in front of the people who really would buy your product that way. So just my last bit of counsel is, when you serve, don't sell. From the beginning of our presentation, it's easier to continue earning people's confidence and trust, and you pay for less. And you'll always be able to pay for less as long as you're aware of what tools can work for you that don't cost you very much but are very effective. So these are some secrets I've learned over my career, and I apply these in my everyday life with my clients today. What questions do you have that I might be able to answer about this?
So, guys, while you're sending in your questions, I would just like to add something to this real quick, Brett, if that's all right.
Yeah.
So, as you guys may have known, I recently just dropped out of BYU. I'm going to be doing some other online training, but BYU, they have like the top, they're like within like the top 10 business programs within the US. And in my marketing class, I never learned about this. They had a lot of other fancy diagrams, and they were mainly focused on things like, how to make ads for magazines or billboards and everything like that. They weren't teaching any of this new content information, which I imagine probably in other classes they may have done that, but the point I'm trying to get at is, like, we are so like honored to be having this, to be seeing this from Brett. Like, this is like probably the most up-to-date information in marketing, and this is really what we're trying to go for as well. If you guys have noticed, like within our program, we don't have any teams that do magazine ads or even do like online, really online like ads. We're all focused on like email marketing, content, and social media. So
that's great. And a lot of this, you know, some very big companies might think about how to spend $1 million, but very small companies, the last thing every time I hire someone, I work with them and say, so if you only had $1, would you spend it this way? Ask yourself that same question. So it can be time consuming and distracting, for instance, to think of everything you could do to build a following on social media. I would say social media is not at the bottom of this pyramid. It's somewhere, you know, maybe a step or two up. Why? Because it takes time and it's difficult to build followers, to attract that many people. If you pay someone to be on their social media account as an influencer or do a trade, that's starting to cost you more. So put that rule of thumb in your head to say, if I only had $1, would I spend it this way? And the lower we go on this pyramid, the less that costs you. So you'd be able to keep your dollar and still do email marketing. Keep your dollar and still do text messaging. Keep your dollar, still do posts on Google My Business. Still do posts on your social media account. Still have a Facebook presence. But you can cross over into Facebook advertising or other things, and those start taking that dollar away from you. So at some point, you want to spend the dollar. Just don't spend it at the bottom. Do the bottom stuff and do it really well, and always do it well. And that will help you use your dollars wisely and well as you move up the model.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions, Micah?
First off, I love that explanation you gave, especially for early startup companies, because I know a lot of these people want to start their companies. We do have one question. It was just for your email address. And Abraham, to answer your question, I'll just go ahead and post that in Slack. For those of you who didn't get that. Yeah, we don't have any other questions coming in. Oh, actually, no, Teddy just actually asked a question. He said, Brett, does the customer journey have any disadvantages? So, I'm not sure what disadvantages you're talking about specifically, Teddy. But.
Cautious about. The thing that I don't like about this drawing is that the first section talks about advertising. But if you look at social and search advertising and not Google ads, right? You can buy Google ads, but you can also use Google My Business to create a presence on Google, and that's free. Email and text marketing, mostly free. You can use MailChimp, for instance, for free until you have 2,000 people in the database. So look for free accounts that can help you do a lot of this. But don't go buy email lists. Put the clipboard out, ask around, have people leave their email address. Give them something free from your website that causes them to pay you with their email address. That exchange is really valuable. And so you accumulate email addresses or phone numbers, and those become assets that you can use to do your marketing. So I just would say that the starting point for every engagement isn't putting money into it. I don't like that about this illustration. The starting point is to think about how you can get exposure for free and use tools for free.
Yeah, going along with, we just mentioned about collecting emails online. I recently just looked into this study where it's about like less than 10% of people, I would even say probably less than that, actually like put in their email when a pop-up comes up, like those annoying pop-ups when you go to a website, like, you know, click here for updates, because the truth of the matter is, like, most people are just new to this website, like, like they don't want to receive your emails, like they already have like 100 other websites that are doing the same thing, right? But what is really effective is if, like Brett mentioned earlier, if you can like just put content and, or what was it that you said, like, have something for them to give something in exchange for their email.
Email address. You think of it that way and say it's got to be valuable enough that I give you my email address, because I've had plenty of opportunities to give away my email address, but don't want to do it if it's not worth it. I'll give you another quick example. I used to sell or be on a board here in Utah for what is called the Freedom Festival, and we have an annual 4th of July event. So America's big freedom holiday, the 4th of July, and it had a stadium show every year called the Stadium of Fire. So big fireworks show. Every year we'd have a headliner from that played rock music or country music or some kind of music that would come. And it would take us 2 to 4 weeks as we announced who that was, with billboards and public relations and other things to sell the tickets to that stadium. And we had to sell 40,000 tickets. That's a lot of tickets, and they were kind of expensive. Well, when I got involved, I got the email addresses from the ticket office from the people who bought last year. They hadn't tried this. We had about 9,000 tickets or email addresses. And on the day that we announced who was coming to the show, which was, we did it in about April, and the show's in July, so several months ahead, we sent an email out to the 9,000 people, same day of the announcement. Well, that year, instead of taking 6 weeks to sell half of the tickets, it took us 2 weeks to sell half of the tickets. By the next year, we had about 20,000 email addresses from ticket buyers. And on the day of the announcement in April, we sent an email out to everybody. And when we had 20,000 email addresses that year, it took us 2 days to sell half of the tickets to the stadium and about 4 weeks to sell all of the tickets. By the time I was involved in that for about 5 years, and we had 50 to 60,000 email addresses, and you can only imagine that as we accumulated those email addresses, it got really easy to send one email blast to 50,000 people and sell almost all of the tickets within 24 to 48 hours. It was a very good thing. So don't ever underestimate email. Maybe people don't want to hear from you every day or every week, but when something good is happening, they want to hear from you, and they'll respect that.
Wow, that's a great story. Thank you for sharing that. I didn't realize you were involved with the Stadium of Fire. That's awesome. So we're having some more questions come in now, Brett. Philippa asked, under the advertising, can you please give some examples of the loyalty programs?
Yeah. The most loyal customers don't need to be paid anything, but some businesses, if you are a restaurant or you sell food, sometimes you have to reward people to say, you know, if you buy 10 meals, we'll give you 1 meal free. I don't know the specifics of what works best for every industry, but I do know that if you serve and don't sell and maintain that orientation, the best loyalty comes from me having a reason to talk to you. So when I send you an email, and back to the example of the Stadium of Fire, if I say, we have the Beach Boys coming this year, and so buy tickets, that's useful information, but most businesses don't always have something to offer. If every email you send me as an existing customer is buy something now, I will probably get discouraged by that. So I feel like the best loyalty programs come from me serving you. If instead of let's say that you do have a restaurant and you want people to think of you, loyalty programs can include sending out a recipe. They can include posting a recipe on your Instagram account or a dish, but serve me with something, because then I could go try the recipe at home. Maybe it's not your secret recipe, it's just a recipe, but I feel served by that instead of sold. Selling, on the other hand, is constantly telling me, buy 2 and get 1 free. Here's a discount for something. Buy this today. And most businesses, almost every business can do that, but pretty soon as a customer, I feel like I stop being as loyal because I feel like you're always selling me something. So try to serve me. Give me a reason to want to talk with you, or to open your email, or look at your Instagram account and not just swipe and go by. Give me a reason to stop and look. Serve me with something meaningful. I hope that makes sense. The best loyalty programs serve me as the customer, not you as the business owner.
I think that's a great response, and if I could just add to that too, a problem that a lot of companies have and why they fail is because they try to position themselves as the hero. They're trying to say, hey, you guys need to like pay me so I can, we can go do whatever we want, and all of that. But the successful companies will do what Brett just mentioned. They'll position the customer as a hero, and they'll position the business as, we're here to serve you, we're here to help. And so I think that's a really strong loyalty program as well. Brett?
Owner, if I make it all about me, you're going to catch on to that pretty quickly. On the other hand, if I make it all about you as a customer, you're going to catch on to that pretty quickly, and you'll like me better if I make it about you.
Yeah, no, that just brought up something funny too. I think we all know friends or even family who they're just like trying to get something out of us, and so like they'll all of a sudden just like act super nice, and then you're like, wait, like what do you want? What do you want from me? And
avoid Uncle John. He's going to always be trying to get you to do something. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, avoid Uncle John. Like customers, they're so like I think sometimes we like as businesses it's easy to assume like, oh, like they don't know what's going on, but really they do. Like they can sense from miles away if you really have the best intentions. So
yeah.
So we'll get some other great questions coming in. So George Johnson asked, how does one market his or her product to appease potential buyers in a competitive business environment, assuming 3 to 4 businesses selling the same product? And I'd be interested to hear your response to this too, Brett, because is it within the experience? Is that where you think people should focus on if they're really worried about competitors?
I think experience is important. There was a book that came out, it's been quite a while ago, called Blue Ocean Strategy. And the author of that book describes most markets as red oceans, where the fish are just eating each other and the water is bloody because of the competition that's there. A blue ocean is a different world, and there are businesses that have become very successful with blue ocean strategies. In the U.S., there's a company called Cirque du Soleil that does a circus, but it doesn't use animals. It's all people, and it's indoors, and it's in a theater. And they've been very successful. They're still a circus, but they don't have any animals involved. They can compete differently because of that strategic difference. I would just say that service is a competitive advantage no matter what business you're in. So you could look at your competition and say, how are they serving? How can we serve differently? How can we treat our customers differently? I have a client that I've worked with where the two owners would talk about their customers like they hated their customers. They're just like, if that guy would just go away, pay us a whole bunch of money and then go away, that would be so good. I said, guys, are the people in your company hearing you talk that way about your customers? They said, yeah, we kind of keep our doors open and even everybody hears that. And I said, you got to change that. So it has to start internally too. You have to believe your customers are heroes. You have to believe your customers want to feel you love them. You have to believe that. And you have to make sure that everybody who works for you believes it too. And so that even if there's a customer problem, you have to talk about it, of course, but you don't start out the conversation with, oh my gosh, and roll your eyes and hate your customer. On the other hand, say, how can we make this right with this customer? How can we help them? How can we serve them? And sometimes that might involve paying money back. It might involve offering some additional services at a lower cost or free. Whatever it takes, serve, don't sell. I think that that's a distinction that can work in any market. And if your business is just a service business, even then, customers will catch on to the idea that you serve better than the other people serve, and they will like that. And sometimes they'll pay even more for service that is better than somebody else's.
Yeah, that's great. That's
answers to that question, but that's the one I'd give you right now.
Yeah, if I could just add to that too. I mean, just just with basic relationships too, like people enjoy doing business with people that they like, and so if you can build an experience with those people, like Brett just explained, and be nice to them and let them know that you're there to serve them, I think that they could just be lifelong customers. That even if your competition comes out with a better product, or they're slightly ahead of the game, like your customers will always be faithful to you because they know that you love and you care about them.
I have another example. It doesn't have to be everybody in your business. There's a tire shop nearby that I take my cars to get my oil changed, and I occasionally have tire issues, but they also change the oil. There are two guys, now more, but two guys at first that worked at the front counter that would take my keys and make arrangements to have my car taken care of. I don't think I've ever met anyone who actually changed the oil or did tire work on my cars, but I can see them through the window at this tire place. But the two guys at the front, Jeff and Keith, they both know me when I walk in, and they say, "Hi, Brett." So they know my name. That makes a big difference. They're the guys I go to every time. This has been for maybe 10 years. And my children now go there. Several other family members, we've advocated and told them they should go there. That's how businesses grow or can grow, because I like Jeff and Keith. I don't even know if Jeff and Keith can change the oil in my car, but they certainly make me feel good when I go to that business. So
that's an awesome experience. I would say that too. Like there's there's this tire shop down in my hometown, and yeah, same thing. I mean, it's just we've been going there, and like one of my brothers now actually works there, and we've spent a lot of good money at that company just because the owner is so personal. Like we know him on a personal basis actually. So it's
can be a big difference.
Definitely. Okay, so we're having some other really great questions coming in. So Abraham asked, or what he said is, actually, sorry, let me read this question real quick. Okay, so his question is, what does one need to do to be a good and successful email marketer? So, Brett, just to bring you up to speed, this is a really cool story actually. So Abraham is a Liberian refugee. If I could just share your story real quick, I hope you don't mind, Abraham. But so yeah, I think just as a young child, he had to flee Liberia, and he thought all of his family had passed away. And actually, just about a couple of weeks ago, he told me that he's able to actually go back and visit his mom, who
wow,
yeah, who actually was alive after all these years. So it was quite an amazing reunion. So. Anyways, and so Abraham is now studying, email marketing. He's been a Japanese so far. He's never done it before. But yeah, he's just started now, and he's been like studying engineering and some other things. But he really just wants to make a difference in the world. So I got him started with email marketing. So anyways, so yeah, just to answer his question though, what do you think it takes to be a successful email marketer?
So I'll give you. This is my rules. We've already talked about having a form on your website that people fill out. You need to acquire people's email addresses, but I'm not going to give you my email address if you're not giving me something of greater value to me. So first and foremost, when you want to get my email address, think through something that would be of value to me. I might give it to you for a free download, or I might give it to you for a software that I can sign up for 7 days for free, or get the light version of the software for free, or an app, a web app, or whatever it is, a mobile app. Give me something to try, and I'll give you my email address for that, because I'm looking for what you're offering. But then on the email marketing side, I use 3 rules of thumb for guiding my own marketing thinking when it comes to email. And the first is, I always say databases. So your list of people's email addresses, that whole group, people, they want attention. Give them attention, but give it to them the way they want. So you need to explore with that group how often they want to hear from you. A lot of companies will just start doing a weekly newsletter or a monthly newsletter or whatever it is without really checking to see if people want to hear from them that much. You can't always know every answer fully, so you check that over time and watch the unsubscribe rate. And if it stays below about 1% per every email that you send out, then you're doing okay. People are wanting to hear from you. Second, when you give me attention, give me something to do. That something to do can be answer questions in a survey. It can be download something. It can be read an article. But that something to do should never be click here to buy. I think you've heard that enough from me, right? Buy now is something to do from the business's point of view, but from the customer's point of view, if I don't need to buy, why would I buy? I'm not going to take my car to get the oil changed every week. I don't need it that often. So don't tell me that all the time. I'll use that as an example. Tell me how to get my car ready for winter. That's something I can do. Tell me to click and go read a page in your blog about road trips I could take my car on. But give me something to do. And then the last thing is give me an offer. I'm okay if you say, here's a special of the week. Here is something else that's going on. But don't make that the prominent part of the email. It could just be that it's one more something to do, right? Hey, you clicked and read the article. Would you tell us what you think about the article? The offer could be, we're collecting feedback from 10 people. We'd like to hear, or everybody, we'd like to hear what you think. But engage me that way. When you do engage me that way, I become loyal, and in time, when I'm ready, I'll buy something from you. And that might be every week. It might be only once a year. It might be once every 5 years. But think of it that way. So to me, those are the rules of email marketing.
Yeah, I think that's so applicable. And one thing I'd like to add to what you just said is, a lot of companies, they'll just try to say like, buy now, like the first email. And you got to think of your business and customer relationships almost like a dating, like romantic relationship. Like if you're going to ask to if you're going to propose or ask them to marry you on the first date, like they're just going to get scared off and go away. It's,
no one wants to get married on the first date, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. And so what I would just say is just think about it in that process. Like, yes, you probably need money now for your company, but what you really need are long-term customers. And so if you want long-term faithful customers, just make sure to go through the process of them. Take them out to dinner first, like go on some dates, and then get to know their family. Things like that. And then when you're ready, then that could be the time to ask them to buy. Okay, so Brett, we're having some more questions coming in, and so I believe it was Java who asked this. Java, he's great too. He's been helping us with this crowdfunding campaign that we have going on, and he's been learning a lot. He's a champ. So what he said is, how do you constantly engage your targeted customer? And what I would like to add to that too, something I'd be curious to know is, how do you engage them, but also like not scare them off by being too pushy, like you said, like your example, like, it'd be terrible, like if your auto mechanic came to your door every day, like, hey, do you need your oil changed? Do you need your oil changed? So what is your idea for a good balance?
Yeah, again, the numbers don't lie. So I'd look at the statistics, and most email marketing programs can give you good statistics. The same is true of social media. So if you have people unsubscribe from emails or unfollow or whatever it is, if those numbers go up, you're doing too much or doing it the wrong way, or not sharing things that are interesting enough. And so if those numbers go up, you should ask around a little bit, talk to the customer, get their opinion. Again, ask John Brown, back to our example, what he buys. And what he's buying when you send him an email is he's letting you send him an email, because he can easily block you. He can easily unsubscribe. So check those numbers. And that'll be kind of general scare, quote unquote scare assessment. I think that the other thing to do, and it varies from business to business, you really need to look around at the competition, see what other people are doing by way of email marketing and or other programs. And of course, they'll let you subscribe to their email list and they'll let you follow them on social media. So do that so that you can be aware of what your competition is doing. Copying the competition kind of works sometimes, but knowing what your competition is doing helps you make better decisions. And so I'd look at kind of those two things. It's probably the best answer I've got. There are a lot of other angles to look at, but I think that's what I'd advise right now.
Sweet. I think that's a great response. Yeah, I think that's a great response. So thank you for answering that. Okay, so looks like we have maybe just one last question, unless any others come in. But this comes from Alvin. And I think Alvin has a cool story. This is Alvin. I know. I think he's been putting a lot of effort to learn how to just like to use a computer and some other major steps in this program. So he's been coming a long way. So thank you for sending this comment, Alvin. What he said is, what is the advantage and disadvantage of social media marketing? So I think that's a great question. Is there a disadvantage to social media marketing?
So Alvin, great question. It sounds like you're smarter than everybody else on the phone right now. I'm just joking. That is a good question, though.
Probably is.
So social media, will you go back up one slide to that pyramid?
Oh, okay, the pyramid.
I'd say that down, yeah. Social media is probably not at the bottom, but at the second or third level of this. And this is why. Compare it to email marketing. If someone gave me their email address, I can email them whenever I want. I can put myself in front of them in their inbox. Now, some people don't open email very often, and some people delete email quickly. I think about 90% of email is now read initially on a mobile device. And so, but I leave it there, right? I'm scrolling through, I delete a few things, I leave the ones I want, and I often go back on my desktop and look at those. Email has a little bit of permanency to it. It sits around. I can undelete it. I can find it in my spam or my trash, right? So compare that to social media. I think you probably were wondering if I'd answer your question. Social media, on the other hand, is more fleeting. I can't put myself in front of you on social media as deliberately, intentionally as I can with email. Now, on the other hand, and Facebook changes its rules all the time. Instagram has changed its rules recently. So even if you post something to your social media account, whether it gets in front of Micah, who's following you or not, may be up to Facebook, may be up to whoever. Also, the possibility that Micah will see it and scroll past it is very high. So you have to rely on what we call stopping power. And that's true of all marketing methods. You have to cause me to stop, make it interesting enough that I will stop, whether it's a picture or a big words or something. Think about going through a magazine and flipping through. You stop at ads that catch your attention, and you don't stop at things that don't catch your attention. That's true of social media. Instagram, I know, changed their rules recently so that they have this kind of caught up notion, right? You scroll down and now you're caught up. Well, what about everything that's below it? So it gives you a false sense that you don't really need to keep looking. Social media, then the only other thing is you've got guys like me. I'm a little older than you guys are probably. And so certain demographics spend less time on it. Younger people spend way more time on social media. And you could say, well, TikTok and Snapchat and other kinds of tools work for marketing purposes, and they can, but the effort it takes to tend that, to stay relevant, to stay active, to stay current, to constantly have something interesting enough to say that people won't scroll past you, and not always be saying buy, but serve, that can be exhausting on social media. So your time commitment is quite different to maintain an active presence there. It works really, really well for strong consumer-oriented companies. It doesn't work as well for business-oriented companies. So if you're selling to other businesses, social media will play a different role than if you're selling to consumers, and especially if you're selling stuff that is more of an impulse buy. Buy it right now because it's going away tonight or going away in an hour. Social media works really good for that kind of stuff. Long answer.
Oh no, I thought that was great though. Especially what you said there at the end, because that's good to know. Because I imagine that a lot of people who start their companies, either be doing the B2B, working with other businesses, or doing B2C, and so that's definitely a good strategy to know about for these people. So, well, Brett, that is all the questions for right now. Let me just exit out of this. If we could go back to you now. Do you have any final words you'd like to share with the group? Like anything of encouragement or any final last bits of advice? I love that. I love that. Serve, don't sell. That might be our new motto of the marketing department. So we'll be famous. Awesome. Great. Well, thank you so much, Brett, for once again jumping on and sharing with us. I learned a lot from this as well. So this was great for everyone. But thank you for your awesome. Well, and for the rest of you guys who are watching this, thank you again for joining. And I look forward to catching up with you guys and discussing more of what Brett just mentioned later today and hopefully in the weeks to come. So take care and have a great Friday.